Hello everyone. I hope you guys are doing really well. My name's Eva. I want to thank you for joining me here. Before we get started, I just want to let everyone know tomorrow, June 12th, there's a group session, group healing session. I didn't plan it to be on the full moon is today, but that energy rings out. And I didn't know that it was the full moon when I planned it. It's the sort of culmination session for my solar thread program, which you might have heard me talk about. But I've opened it up to the whole field because it's just such a powerful time, and I'm sure that you can feel that if you're here. I'm sure you are working with these energies already, and it's just this message keeps coming through of it being like revealing all that which is hidden, bringing forth all that which is held inside of you to bring to the light of the truth. And so whatever that means for you at this time, there's lots of information I've shared about what's coming through for this session, but it's also going to be, you know, there is no objective reality in perception, right? There's like 8 billion different perceptual thought systems from within all of our separated consciousness here. So your life is unique to you here on earth. So it will be, you know, it's important to understand how this healing works is entirely collective, but the way you understand it through yourself will be unique to you because of your unique coding. So this at this time, the message really also is how we take responsibility for our seeing and how we walk through the clouds of fear in love, walking through pain with love, the presence of our eternal being with us, walking through fear, through the clouds, to meet ourselves in the light of the truth. And it's so beautiful and powerful when we do it together. But if you want to join, the link's below, and it's going to be super powerful. I'm really, really excited for it. Bring a notebook and just be comfortable. I really like to lie down when I do energy work, but if you don't want to do that, just somewhere where you can sit undisturbed. Really dedicate the time to yourself. It's Thich Nhat Hanh talked about this stillness, obviously, right, as being very important. But all of the distraction that we indulge as a way to not look at ourselves. So at any time that you're dedicating to healing and you find yourself as you're working through things maybe wanting to scroll on your phone or do whatever and not be still and just sit with yourself, ask yourself why, because that's a really powerful moment of understanding how you're hiding that which is within you. So I'm not saying we have to sit in silence all of the time, but if you find yourself really moved to distraction, it could be the ego really hiding something from you, and then you needing to take spiritual maturity to say, you know what, I'm not afraid to look at what this is. I'm not afraid to be with myself. I'm not afraid to find out who I really am. Because we'll find when we look that what the ego is hiding is the choice it made to be separate and the truth that you really aren't separate, because then that would be the disillusion of the ego, right? We need to anchor in love to see that once we let the ego go, that does not mean annihilation of the self. The ego is not the true self. The ego is a false self that we have projected out of a wish to be other than we are. And it uses incredible methods of guilt, pain, projections of sin, punishment in order for us to not look at the truth of what we really are. So, in order to live and be and breathe in the truth of what we are, we have to walk through those delusions to really recognize them as false and to meet ourselves in the light of the truth on the other side. So that's what all of this work is for. Tomorrow, very powerful healing coming through, and I really hope to see you there. There is an incredible wind coming through outside. It is the afternoon in the mountains, so it's pretty regular, but this spring has been different. I'm sure you have noticed that as well. Lots going on in the world. So in this, I just wanted to get on and do a focused vocal code, sound code, light code, healing for whatever that you're dealing with. A lot of defenses coming through, a lot of judgment of self, a lot of fear of expressing. There's a throat, heart sort of clearing and almost merge into revealing the higher heart, this more unified way of communicating, and really just letting yourself understand what interdimensional communication really is. And that is something that codes really help with, because I can't really describe it because it's not of this linear method of communication, which is talking. That's sort of why I don't like calling it light language, because I don't really think it's a language at all. And there are so many different ways of communicating that I think we really limit ourselves from when we try to take more expanded, more unified ways of being and smush them and translate them into a method that it really wasn't meant for. So let yourself be open, let yourself discover, let it be in joy, let it be in curiosity, let it be in creative delight. And it might feel like that's something that we can't do at this time because of what we see going on around us, but that is the new way. And by new, it's new to us. It's new to Earth in this de-evolution of Earth, but it really isn't new because it's eternal. So let yourself remember, let yourself be awakened from within yourself, and let yourself meet yourself as one, and just be willing. A little bit of willingness goes so much, because you have to open the door, right? Only the one can open the door. But once you open the door just a little, oh my goodness, we have no idea. We have no idea what we're met with, and we have no idea how powerful we really are in the unified self. And we believe very little of God, and we're very afraid of God, and we need to reconcile our relationship with God, source, creator, the field, however you resonate with that. So just take a nice deep breath. If you want to pause and get a notebook, please feel free to do that. Kinitanam nun chanin saninkana ya yati na yani. Harayatunam ni shanakana sanini andiniam din sinindritis na shanit. And don't feel, there's a lot of messages for like self-judgment coming through. If you don't feel good at this time, understand what we're going through, and that we do have to walk through that pain in order to get to the light of the truth. So if it doesn't feel good, if you're uncomfortable, if you are getting down on yourself, if you feel a lot of pain, understand this is a massive collective healing. This is massive collective undoing. It's unraveling time. It's unraveling all of these distortions that we have written throughout time, all of these adjustments from the unified self, adjust and adjust and adjust and adjust throughout this false continuum. And so we unravel and undo all of that, and that can be very messy, and it's happening very, very quickly. It's happening so fast now. So understand that you're not crazy. You're not crazy. You're not wrong. You're not inept. You're not doing it wrong. You're not late. You're none of the things that the ego will tell you you are, so that you stop looking at the light of the truth. The ego doesn't want to be found out as a false thing, so it's going to do anything it can to make you stop looking. Remember who you are. Remember that you made the ego. You are very capable of seeing yourself outside of the ego. And this is also a practice of seeing other people from from the light of the truth. When you see yourself from the light of the truth, you see all others. That's that namaste idea, right? That is recognizing self in others. It's the treat other people as you want to be treated. What that, sort of really means is understanding that all others are yourself. And so when you do things unto others, you do it to yourself, because there's no other way for anything to be functioning. And this is an essential part. It happens through our individual experience because we've made ourselves individual, but it is not complete until you recognize the unity of all life and the sanctity of all life. And that's really what's missing in the world, right? We can see that very clearly. The example I'm met with every time I get in my car for how everyone has forgotten the sanctity of life is how people drive. We know that there are deadly car accidents that happen every day, and yet people don't use their blinkers, they cut people off, they tailgate, they go 100 miles per hour on like 35-mile-per-hour roads, they scream at each other. There's all kinds of crazy things that happen, even though you're driving like a death machine, you know? So it echoes. This is everywhere. We can see this everywhere. We need to recognize it for what it really is, which is a separation from the divinity of all life. We don't believe in our own divinity, and so we don't see divinity anywhere. We don't believe that we are sacred and worthy, so we don't see anyone else that way, and we continue to condemn ourselves, and we condemn all others through projection of delusions. And so we really have to practice blessing. We have to practice forgiveness, which is to see through the false into the truth of their eternal being. That's a practice that has to be done in conjunction. If you're just doing it for yourself and you're leaving out other people, it's only half done. You're not really doing it. So we have to practice this in conjunction with freeing ourselves, because we heal as one or not at all. We must offer this to all others. And it doesn't have to be like you saying something like this to other people. It's just the way that you emit, the way that you treat other people in kindness. Natua namni shanin, brihato sumna kanin chaya yasna. Shanin darahirniam, norohana shnin, sanandri kayasitayanaya. Yamatu tanda nashanayas, dayas no shani tanantis. Nindrita woroin suyuti shoyotuansa. And I'm going to tell you, this is going to be more and more difficult than ever as we see what's going on. If you're in America or in many other places in the world, opposition is sown into everything. Resistance to the other, condemnation of the other, vilification of the other, damnation of the other, violent action against the other is everywhere, and it is heightened, and it will be, if you continue to look from that perspective, you will continue to see that world. If you choose to see from above, you'll still see the playing out of that world, but you're not going to see yourself from a context of being beholden to it. You can't use the same consciousness that made the problem to solve the problem. That's just going to keep perpetuating the problem. But understand the solution to the problem is in everything, because love is. The center of all being is at the center of all being, and so it can be recognized, but you must choose to see it that way. I really don't believe there's going to be something, even with all of the energies that are available to us now, which is a product of the collective field doing evolutionary work and consciousness expansion work, but you're not going to get plucked out of your situation without your effort. Without your effort to see, without your choice to see. You need to recognize your free will choice to see things differently, and you have to do that. Now, once you've made that choice, you will be met with infinite assistance, but you do have to make the choice. You can't react in violence and expect spirit to just pluck you out and then live in freedom and peace while you're, whoa, there was such a big lightning. Ooh, there it comes. This is significant. How beautiful. Let this wash away and activate. Kinanianandoritis natanam jiritia takinatisi. Tinandoro hinaptash. We're not in opposition to the earth. We're not in opposition to our mother. And she's not vengefully trying to shake us off this planet, and she's not retaliating, nor is she weak. Nor have we disturbed the earth into some kind of submission. I think that's really misunderstanding who she is as a planetary consciousness. Kinainsaniniam doro kanatis natini shinindritis. This is hubris. Kinindisnum dorot. It's not hubris to align yourself with the unity and sanctity of all things and your eternal being and God. It's hubris to do otherwise. Kinitisam na kinitis and chokaritis natritis. It's hubris not to see the divinity in all things. Mientaratus, because you're projecting a definition of something that God does not hold. Kinindisam takor kunchiritis, and it doesn't want to punish you, it wants you to see. It wants you healed. And you do too, because you're unhappy. Taratusam sa kinindishinindog, because there's pain and there's death. And we don't want these things, but we keep looking in the wrong place to heal them, and we have to look within now. Sientorokai shinitritis nintayon. Be brave and see what you hold within you. Kinin shinindatuyosun shinindratusui shinindritayan. Imandayatu namnishi. It's very easy to go through the clouds once you realize what they are. And you're not alone in going. I go with you. All of Christ goes with you. All of the beings of the field go with you. Kininditium tokuritis natan, shindaratorukunit, shauso. And they will always be there to remind you who you are. They are always, the call of home is always singing. It's always playing. The divine song is always calling you home. Always. It will never stop. It will never stop calling you home. Shinindritis nakinani shanamna hion sontayo konotoyon. Auru yishitis dos o kinamnai. Indaratusu yishin sintao. Yatia yatian sanchara uruit. Saya shanandata kunamdai si yatoratis tas. Shan siri tianian duritis nantayanitindi. Hyun soncharaya turuitan sitanandisi. Be brave, be brave. And understand how you can be truly helpful. You are not truly helpful by perpetuating delusions. You're not being truly helpful by seeing yourself in a false context of opposition. Kininda kondosham borroati. Kinandi sansanan tatu samshakurut. Hiwasun chin takunum britaita sin shinin. Hipayotu. Hienimam shini. Opening. Hinandat. Yaturu kunchanai. Kinituyambor kinitis. Sitayat. Sitayaka. Hello, Steve. My kitty's here. Tisanandreti. Nitati. Tisitiatiana. Motoko adi tisinchakanai. Sitikiatiki tisiti. My baby. Kinataniandoro hanasna shantana kanayansa. Itoruitan sim shinindritisna kinindirit. Hinain sandoto toman tashnata tasnatrati andreati siata. And do not underestimate your own power in the field to change things. There is nothing event-based that is set in stone. There are currents and there are loose, I don't know how to describe that. I'm thinking like in terms of astrological dates and stuff like that. Like there are sort of loose archetypal movements, but there is no set in stone written script for what's going to happen. So do not underestimate your power and the power that this has to reorient physical reality, because these codes are meant to reorient physical reality. And it's not hubris to think that you can change what happens. You can change what happens. you will change what happens, and you have an effect on the entire field. So don't limit yourself by thinking that you can't save the world. You don't save the world by changing the physical world in the sense of how the ego thinks that happens. You change it by changing yourself from within your mind, from within what you believe that you are and where you're seeing yourself from, which naturally recodes the field. And through that acceptance of yourself, do you accept what a lot of people consider gifts, but which are your very natural capabilities and very natural expressions of more expanded dimensional consciousness. And that is coming into awareness at this time for a lot more people. So don't limit what you're capable of, and let yourself see, sense, feel, and accept what that means in the terms of the ripple effect of how these codes reorient things, because you are meant to change the world. But it happens through yourself, right? So we don't go forcing, we don't convince, we don't command, we don't fight. We do it from within the self, and we merely offer. And that's more powerful than you can ever imagine. So that's my offering to you for today. Thank you so much for joining me. And remember how powerful you are. Remember how loved you are. Even when you feel like crap and you feel like you can't do it anymore and you just want to give up and you feel like I've been doing this for so long and I don't see my physical life changing. Well, look around you and look again, because I beg to differ. And understand that you weren't made to create in the old paradigm. You're here to bring the new. So focus on the new. Keep your attention on expanding in love, so that when you look back at the dying world, you can offer it love by seeing the beings in it for what they really are, which is not their egos, just as you are not your egos. You are not the mistakes that you've made. You are not sin, so no one else can be either. And this is the unification process that's happening at this time. So thank you again, and I love you very much, and I'll see you soon.